أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد والثناء لرب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وشفيء ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly session of Family Matters. Um, the series of Family Matters, our weekly Friday evening session. Last week we talked about we started the Family Matters series, and we talked about the role that men have in a family, and as husbands, as fathers, as leaders of families. We expounded a little bit on the verse which said that men are the maintainers of women, and what does that mean, and what does that look like. So we got into some of those details to help better understand for ourselves this role, the dynamic, that the role of men, it should be one where they're knowledgeable, spiritual, and the other attributes that we mentioned, physically in shape, have street smarts, um, taking care of their health, obviously, but have that balance of a gentleness, but a sense of courage, and as protectors, a sense of authority and dominance, all in the right sphere, in the right way, to be those attributes that compose excellent leadership, especially in the scope of a family setting, and that those are necessary in order to have a strong family unit, and in order for men to be effective. There's a role that women must play as well, which I'm going to get to that soon. But in today's subtopic of Family Matters is chapter 49, verse 13. That is the title of the subtopic, this address in the Qur'an. So I would encourage you to, and appreciate if you go to the page, go to the ayat in the Quran, find surah number 49, Surah Hujarat, find verse number 13, and read this verse, inshallah. Let's make sure that we understand it, because for this for this series, part of the topic of family matters, this is an issue which it kind of crosses over with some of the current climate that we're living in. I'm sure that you are not oblivious to what's going on in the world, especially in America, the with social justice trending, and we're gonna kind of talk about that in some capacity in the scope of what family matters and how that relates to us. Assalamu alaikum, brother Weiss. Thank you for joining us. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for everyone who joins in. I appreciate taking the time to listen and for us to have these discussions together. If you have any thoughts or comments, feel free to post them in the comment section, and I'll try my best to get to those, inshallah. So in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala outlines and puts into perspective for us what is important. And so, and the reason why this is particularly important is because we are Muslims. As a Muslim, then my values must align with Islam. If I am a Muslim, but my values do not align with Islam, then this is a problem. What kind of Muslim am I? Okay. Allah outlines for us what is important in terms of the value of a human being. What has value? And we want to see what Allah says, and then we can look at the contrast of what we value, what things we have given importance to, especially when it comes to spouse selection and choosing a wife or choosing a husband. What kind of things have we given importance to? And uh, how much have we given importance to this primary important aspect which Allah has identified? Assalamu alaikum, Husayni Amini Mujahid. In this verse, Surah 49, verse 13, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nas, O humankind. He speaks to every single human being. Doesn't matter where you're from or your age, even your religion. Ya ayyuhan nas, everyone. Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh, humanity, we created you all from a single male and female. All of you, Bani Adam, the children of Adam, your brothers and sisters in humanity. وَجَعَلْنَا شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ. We made you different nations, different tribes. You speak different languages. You have different cultures. You may eat different foods. Your clothing or dress may differ. Your physical features may be different. Your hair, your skin color may be different. Your eyes, your nose, your facial features, your height may be different. He says, we made you into different nations and different tribes. So your cultures are different. لَتَعَارَفُوا. And Allah explains He did this why? What is the purpose of this? لَتَعَارَفُوا. So that you may know one another. You may have an identity. Right? How many people are in the world? 7 billion, 8 billion. Imagine if 8 billion people, everyone looked exactly the same. Everyone ate only exactly the same thing. Everyone wore only exactly the same dress. What kind of world would that be? Right? So one of the beautiful aspects of Allah's creation is differences. The differences. One of the most beautiful things that Allah has outlined for us is how we are different. Different colors, different taste, different foods. The differences in our languages, and cultures, and colors. These are one of the great signs, ayat, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can't ignore them. Allah says He was intentional. This was not an accident. It's not like, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created mankind and He said, oops, accident, some people turned out this color. Oops, accident, some people Eyes look like this. Oops, accident. Someone's food is going to be this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the perfect designer of the universe. He doesn't make any mistakes. If He created you so that you may be different, He says this difference is a beauty for you. This difference should be accepted and embraced. Go to Surah number 30 at Rum, verse number 22. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and from the signs of God, what is one of the signs of His greatness? خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, the creation of the heavens and the earth. وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ, and the differences in what? Your tongues, your languages. Someone speaks Farsi, someone speaks Urdu, someone speaks French, someone speaks Arabic, someone speaks Swahili, someone speaks German, someone speaks, and all these many other different languages, hundreds of languages. It said, min ayatihi. These are mentioned as signs of God, the creation of the heavens and the earth. وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ, the differences in your language and what? Your colors. Some people are very dark chocolate like me. They're delicious dark chocolate. Some people are a white chocolate. Some people are somewhere in the middle. Some people are more vanilla, a little more towards yellow, a little more towards red, a little more towards this. These are all beautiful colors of the spectrum. One of the great signs of Allah. It's just a sign of His power in creating. It says, Inna fi dhalika la'ayatin lil'alameen. There's a sign in this for those people who reflect, for those people who think, for those people who understand. Everybody is not a thinker. Some people, we don't like to think. We don't like to reflect. Those who understand and know realize what these two verses are saying together. They realize that putting these two together helps us to understand that Allah's power is infinite and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us in such a way that even with that, we have certain things which give us value. But it's not these things. Now, is the color of our skin something which gives us imtiyaz, which gives us any virtue or value? No, it's an ayat, sign of Allah. They're different ones. If one was better than the other, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have said, for example, white skin is the best. He doesn't say any such thing. He said these are all just signs. These are differences. Go back to Surah number 49, verse number 13. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Shaykh. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Nasari. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're talking about spouse selection because this is a series about family and family matters. How do we choose our spouse? And these two verses, ayats in the Qur'an, please look them up, read them to get an idea and understand. This is the crux of the topic. And going back to ayah 49, we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O mankind, I created you from a single male and female, and I made you a different nations and tribes, spread you out from that Adam and Hawa, and then you became many, many, many different people, many different groups, many different tribes. And the other ayah, the different languages, different colors. All this is lita'arafu. This is just so you have an identity. It's just so you have an identity. Not everyone doesn't need to be the same. Inna akramakum indallah atqakum. Please learn this, understand this. This is the most important aspect. Akramakum indallah atqakum. Surely, in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, The best of all of you are who? The one who has the most taqwa. Is the one who has this color better? No. Is the one who has this much wealth and money better? No. Is the one from this country with this passport better? No. Who's better? The one who is better in their taqwa, in their piety, and in how aware they are of God, in their God wariness. That person is better. Inna Allah alimun khabir. Allah knows. He's all-knowing and all-aware. So, as an alim, as a scholar, like many scholars, you are connected to a variety of people. Especially myself, I am connected to a lot of different communities. And these communities have different backgrounds, different cultures, different languages. Some people migrated here from Iran or Afghanistan or Pakistan or India or Turkey or other places or Burma. Some people were born and raised here and lived here for generations. And there are different languages amongst people. There's different complexions and shades of skin. All of these things. The role of the alim in a community is to help people to connect. And often people, they come and they have needs, and one of the roles of the ulama is to help to connect people with their needs. Someone comes and they have financial needs. The ulama is a piece within all of the community that can connect someone who needs with someone who has money and help that money to get to the one who needs. If someone comes and they need some help with something, again, that's part of the role of the ulama, is to connect that network, help to connect that network. Sometimes people need to get married, right? The most loved foundation in the eyes of God is marriage. So when someone wants to get married, they need to come, and it's especially important to utilize the platform and the network of the ulama to connect to people. But we have some problems in our community. I'm talking about our Muslim community. We believe in these ayat 30:22, 49:13. We believe in these ayat, but sometimes we don't follow them. What am I talking about? Someone comes and says, Shaykh, I really want to get married. Okay, alhamdulillah. What are you looking for in a person? What are some of the basic things? I'm looking for example, a brother says, I'm looking for a good wife, someone outgoing, someone who likes school and education, someone who's down to earth and funny and friendly, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for these things. Okay, alhamdulillah. I know someone. Great, Shaykh, connect me. Right, can you tell me about her? For example, I'm giving an example. This is not about any particular person. So I say, for example, there's a sister and she's African American. And the brother says, oh, wait a minute. For example, he's Iranian. He says, yeah, that's not going to work. Why is it going to work, brother? She has all those things that you asked for. You said you want someone who can, this kind of sense of humor, can cook, can do this, can do that, whatever, whatever. She has all of those things. So yes, but the color of her skin. So this means that we become like the Fir'aun. We become the Nejad Paras in our daily lives. It's one of the biggest problems that we face in our community. People, instead of marrying someone who's good, they get stuck on what is the color of their skin. They get stuck on where are they from. I don't want to marry somebody if their complexion is like this. There was a website that it was doing like a marriage website. And in this marriage website, it would ask you, it was primarily, it seemed like their audience were people from India and Pakistan. I think those were the people in the pictures. There were people, but it was, I think it might have advertised also as a Muslim website. Anyway, someone was showing me that you go into this website and you want to fill out, what you're looking for or about yourself. It asks you maybe 20 different, it gives you 20 different options to choose for your complexion. Are you wheat? Are you honey? Are you cinnamon? Are you milk chocolate? And it goes on and on and on. It was very, funny to me. That down to that small detail, this was important to people. So someone could marry someone. And if they have everything, they are a perfect believer, they're a good person, but their complexion was honey and not milk chocolate or vice versa, then they would say, no, I can't marry this person. Where's the aql in these people? You have to ask yourself. Salaam alaikum, brother Alizada. Salaam alaikum, brother Qadir. Welcome. Thank you for joining. We have to ask ourselves this question. The Prophet of Allah, we see this example. He's encouraging people to marry the good person. Good. But we have this problem where there's racism and discrimination within the Muslim community. Someone says, I'm not going to marry this. For example, this Iranian person says, I want to marry someone. I said, well, there's this sister. She's Afghan. I said, no, I can't marry someone who's Afghan. I went to the Afghan person, say, there's a good candidate for marriage. The brother or sister, who are they? Well, for example, they're Mexican. Oh, we can't marry someone who's not Afghan. And this cycle, it's the ugliest thing that can exist. What is the reason for that, though? The reason I see myself as better than someone else? Who else was like this? Let's think about that. Who else? Do you know someone? You heard of Iblis? Heard of Shaitan? You created me from nar. Created him from teen. You created me from fire. I'm better than this one. I disobey God. I will become la'in, rajim, because I think I'm better. Is this mu'mineen do? What kind of Muslim can follow these ayats of Allah, but when it comes to marriage, they discriminate? They look down on someone because of their color, their nationality, where they are from. So when we look today and we see, for example, this image which has burned in everyone's mind of this wicked, vicious police officer putting his knee on the neck of this black man for 9 minutes until he dies, and people watching. Because that's the sickness in the heart. When it grows, this is what it looks like. That we can treat other people badly because of what they look like. And we as Muslims, we cannot look at this police officer and say, oh, this is so bad. But then in our masjid, in our home, when we talk about people, other people and other nationalities, we mock them. We have these words that we use when we talk about someone. If their eyes look like this, we make fun of them. If their skin is dark, we make fun of that. If their nose looks like this, we make fun of that. If their lips looks like this, we make fun of that. If their hair is like this, we make fun of that. What caused us to become shayateen? What has made the person who claims to follow La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, how did he become Lashkar Shaitan? How did he become one of the shayateen? Hmm? Parents who have lived Muslim life their whole life. I have seen children come to their parents and say, Baba, Mommy, I want to marry someone. They're not from our background. And their parents look at them and say, no, this is not acceptable. You can't marry someone who looks different, who speaks a different language. How did this akhlaq shaitan become a part of us? How did that happen? Many places in the Western world, all throughout the world, have been indoctrinated with an idea of, for example, what is beauty? An idea of what this is. You see the images, right? The images that are being promoted of on a billboard, on a commercial. A beautiful woman looks like this. Her hair looks like this. Her color is white, probably. She probably has blonde hair. And this is what is the image of quote unquote beauty. And this idea has been exported and indoctrinated into so many people and so many cultures, to the point where people are thinking and hating themselves instead of seeing what Allah said. Allah said, your color, whatever it is beautiful. It's one of my ayat. Your language is beautiful. It's one of Allah's ayat, one of His signs. Instead, what are people doing? In so many different places, they're hating themselves. But let me buy these bleach creams. They advertise them everywhere. People make fun of other people. Don't stay in the sun too long. You might get some color. You buy this bleach cream. I want to make sure my skin looks more white. Why? When did you begin to hate yourself? If you hate yourself, of course you will hate your brother. Of course you will hate your sister in Islam. Because we hate ourselves. And then we look for any reason to give ourselves some imtiyaz. Maybe I can feel better about myself, like shaitan. I'm better than them. So a person will say, I'm the Aryan race. I'm better than this person. That person will say, well, my hair is like this. It's better than that person. And this cycle, especially in the Muslim community, is a huge problem. This self-hate, this hatred of others, this mistreatment of others. I swear, wallah, please take this to the bank. I'm going to say this for the record. Everyone should understand and know. Everyone should understand and know. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Nasreen. Thank you for joining us. Everyone should know this point. What is that? The people who look at someone and their children are married outside of their race, outside of their culture, and they have not cared about that. And they have put taqwa first. These are the best examples of the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Pay attention to that. And I really commend and I really say, MashaAllah, ahsantum. You didn't hate yourself. You didn't hate your brother because of the way that they look, because of their complexion, because of something so superficial and unimportant. There are many people who are indoctrinated with this false idea. The British colonialism that was in India and in America and in Europe and even in Africa and so many places, the French colonialism, this mind which taught people you should hate yourself and you should, unless you look more European. If you look more white, you're more beautiful. If your hair is more blonde, then you're more beautiful. If your eyes are this color, it's more beautiful. Who said this? Did Allah say this? How did we learn this? You know, when you want to really see and understand this fact, look at children. Small, innocent children. They don't know, they haven't learned yet that some people have thought that beautiful looks like this image only. They haven't learned that. And they'll embrace someone different color, different hair, anything, and it's beautiful for them. They don't have any problem with that, right? Because they're not corrupted their nafs. They haven't hated themselves and hated their brother. So we have to look at ourselves, look in the mirror, in our communities, ourselves. What are we encouraging our children? When they want to get married, do we say, marry someone who's a good person? If they're white, if they're black, if they're brown, if they're yellow, are they good? Do we ask this question? Or do we tell them, you're a Desi, you're Indian, you're from Hyderabad, you have to marry somebody from there. You're Afghan, you have to marry somebody who's Afghan. You're Iranian, you have to marry somebody who's Iranian. Or you can only marry someone who looks this color. Have we become shayateen? Have we become shayateen? No one wants to be with shaitan. But this is the example. I am better than them. I don't like this person. I don't like that because of the way Allah created them. I don't care if they're good. I don't care if they're mu'min. I don't care if they pray every day. I don't care if they give their sadaqah. I don't care if they do everything that Allah loves. I don't care. I don't care if Allah loves them. I love myself, for I love this complexion. I love this hair, kind of hair. This is what we're reduced to as human beings? Really? It's insane. It doesn't make any sense. When it comes to our spouse selection, please do not tell your children they should only marry someone who speaks Farsi, who speaks Urdu, who speaks Arabic. Please don't do that. Don't tell your children you should only marry someone who is from this country, who is Afghan, who is Iranian, who is Arab, who is Lebanese, who is Iraqi, who is what. Please don't be like the shaitan. Akramakum indallah atqakum. Find out who is the best when it comes to their iman. On the day of judgment, Guess what? Are you going to Jannah or heaven and paradise because you are white? No. Are you going to Jannah because you are brown? No. Will you go to heaven because of your hair? No. Akramakum indallah atqakum. Who has the most piety? This will determine. Allah doesn't give any imtiyaz, any benefit, any preference because of your color, because of your language, because of how you look. Nothing. There's nothing in it for you. Nothing. Zero. When your young people want to choose a spouse, let them choose who is good. Teach them that. Teach them to choose akhlaq. Teach them to choose iman. Teach them to choose virtue, character. People, they get married and then something happens to that attribute. Brother married the sister because he heard that she had long blonde hair. Maybe her hair fell out. Then what? That was your motivation? What if it turns gray? Then what? Then what? Person marrying someone because just because of their color, but then they're not happy later on. You married the color, the nationality you wanted, but now you're not happy in your marriage. Why? Why? So many people, so many people, unhappy marriages. Why? They did not look for Iman. Brothers and sisters, you know, this is a dars for all of us. This is just a reminder for all of us. How we treat our Muslim brother and sister should be based off of this. The Prophet of Allah, the reason that we remember Rasulullah, the reason that we remember Imam al-Husayn, Imam al-Ali, all of the Ahl al-Bayt, all of the Anbiya, the reason why they stand out is because of what? Because of their color? No. Because of their ethnic background? The language they spoke? No. Because of their taqwa, period. We have to learn to follow this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us all more tawfiq and more success to see the right path and to inshallah follow the right path, to be of those people who take these ayat and signs of Allah and learn from them, to be of those people who know, who understand, who reflect and apply the teachings of the Qur'an and Ahl Bayt to our life. Inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.